Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Lewis from Recycle Bicycle Sales, and today we're going to talk about Di2 gears. Di2 is Shimano's way of saying electric gears. You'll often find Di2 or electric gears on high-end road bikes. Today we're going to look at an 11-speed Di2 bike, and we're going to talk about how to adjust the gears on one. To give you a very quick summary for the anatomy of an 11-speed Di2 group set, we have the two shifters, the two derailleurs, a battery that's usually in the seat post, and then we have a junction box, which is similar to an ECU in a car, but in cycling we call it a junction box. But everything here is connected by electric wires rather than cable operated derailleurs and shifters and a metal cable, I suppose. This is better because you have no cable that can stretch over time, because now we have electric wires, which means that hopefully the gears don't go out of tune as often if they're set up correctly. Let's have a look at how to set up these gears correctly while we're here today. So when we're tuning Di2 gears, you'll find that 3 of the 4 adjustments you can make on the derailleur are the same as what you'll find on a mechanical derailleur. If you've seen our video about tuning gears, I'll put the link in the description, you will have noticed that the high limit, the low limit, and the B tension screws are all in the same spots. The one that's changed is the cable of tension, which in that video we called it the barrel adjuster. We have no barrel adjuster on here because there is no cable to pull or loosen tension off of. Now, before making any adjustments on the derailleur, you have to make sure that the hanger is straight. If the hanger is bent, even only by a fraction of a millimeter, it can put all of the gears out of tune. So when you go and adjust everything, you're adjusting it to a bent derailleur, which means nothing is going to work perfectly. So make sure that the hanger is straight. One of the easiest ways that you can check at home if the hanger is bent is if you look straight down the back, looking at the chain where it goes past the cassette, the top jockey wheel and the bottom jockey wheel. We want to make sure that that's a straight line pointing down. If it's bent inwards or if it's bent outwards, that could mean that you have a bent hanger, which means that any adjustment that you make might not work properly. Assuming that the hanger is straight, you'll know that you need to tune your gears because it might be making an interesting sound as you pedal along, like a ticking noise. Or it might be that when you press the button, it's slow to go one way, but fast to go back the other way. So you might know that you need to adjust the gears there. Let's talk about how to do it. Whenever we're adjusting gears, regardless of whether they're Di2 or mechanical, I always recommend doing it in a quiet place. I say that because we're listening to how the chain is reacting with the cassette. So if you've got loud music playing or you're in a busy street somewhere, it might be difficult to hear what's going on. So find a nice quiet place, and then we're gonna go through and adjust it however we need to go. What we're gonna do is we're going to press and hold the button until it goes into shifting mode. Press and hold, there you go, and now it stays in red. As we're pedaling along, if I press down, if I press this harder button here, we'll see the derailleur slowly moving downwards. And then if I press it the other way, we'll see it slowly moving upwards, up the cassette to an easier cog. If I press it really far, it will eventually jump to the whole next cassette. Did you see that? To the next cog. That would mean I've overdone it. So we've got to come back down with the smaller button to find where that perfect point in the middle is. I was saying earlier, we want to listen to it until it sounds perfect. You can probably hear it ticking and carrying on. If I come down, down, down. Hear that? Me neither. It sounds perfect. That's exactly right in the center, exactly where we want to be. I can double check by going a couple clicks further, and then it sounds a bit worse. A couple clicks back, and then it sounds even smoother again. So I'm very happy with that in that cog. Now, while we're on the topic of adjusting it up and down, you can adjust it in different gears. So if we were to go back out of shifting mode, it's really important you press and hold the button to come back out, lights off again, and now we can jump between different cogs. You might want to come to a different area of the cassette, a slightly easier gear, a slightly harder gear, and again, listen to it, and we want to see if it still sounds okay there. I think it sounds pretty good, but I reckon we can do a little bit better. Let's press and hold the button to go into shifting mode. I reckon that's about perfect. Press and hold, out of shifting mode, and then hopefully the cable adjustment is all ready to go. When talking about adjusting the front derailleur, there's a few different adjustments we can do. We can talk about adjusting the height. You might need to change the height if you have different size chain rings than what you previously had. You might need to go up or need to go down. We can also adjust the angle of the derailleur. So there's a little screw in there that can push up against the frame to adjust the yaw of the derailleur. And then we also have a high limit screw. On Di2, there is no low limit screw on the front. There's only a high limit, and it's able to adjust both a little bit as well. So let's have a look. Adjusting the front derailleur, what we're trying to adjust is we want to make sure that the derailleur can push as far across this way that it's not going to rub when it's down in the hardest cog, but we also want to make sure that it can go as far as it needs to go that way, so it's not going to rub on the easiest cog as well, going up the steepest hill. So we're pretty much adjusting the limit screws is the main thing here. So in this big ring, if I bring it down to the hardest cog down the back, so we're going down the steepest hill, we're going really fast right here. We want to bring that derailleur as close as we can to the chain here without it rubbing. If it was a little bit too loose and it was touching on the chain, you'd hear a noise the whole time you're pedaling along. And when you press the shifter button, it might not actually bring the chain all the way across to the biggest gear. If we reach in there, there should hopefully be a letter H for high limit screw. So we can either loosen that or we can tighten that, and we'll be able to see it adjusting back and forth just like that. If I did it up too loose and it wasn't tightened up enough, we'd notice that we can hear that the chain is rubbing on the front derailleur, which means that it's done up incorrectly. So if I was to then tighten it a little bit more, we should see the derailleur coming further outwards, and we want it to come so it's not touching the chain, but it's nice and close, so it's not going to accidentally throw the chain over and scratch your beautiful crank arm or get onto your sock or anything like that. So once we've set up the derailleur to not rub in the big chainring and the smallest cog going down the steepest hill really fast, we want to go to the complete other extreme. So we'll drop down to the smaller chainring, and then we'll go up to the easiest cog that we can at the back, as if we're going up the steepest hill. Some people call it granny gear. We want to make sure that it's not rubbing on the inside of the derailleur cage this time. If it's rubbing, it could be something to do with the fact that the derailleur might not be straight, or it might be a little bit too low or too high. So just have a look at that as well. Even if the gears are set up completely perfectly, there's two gears that I would almost expect it to rub in pretty much any bike that you've got. I call them big and big and small and small. The reason for that is we're doing something called cross chaining. Cross chaining happens when we're in small and small. So I'm in the small chainring at the front and the small cog at the back. So instead of the chain being perfectly straight, the chain is on an angle like this and it's rubbing on the cage here. And then same deal on the opposite side. When we're in the big chainring, if we come up to the big cog here at the back, again, we're cross-chaining the opposite direction now. So it will likely rub on the inside a little bit, and it might sound a little bit average. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something about how to adjust your 11-speed Di2 Shimano gears. Remember, none of this matters if you forget to charge your gears. So make sure to always keep your battery fully charged on your bike. If you have any questions or you think we might have skipped over something, let us know in the comments below. And there might be someone else out there that you can teach something to as well. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. See you guys.